There is an ancient paradox at the heart of spiritual life, one that thoughtful seekers eventually encounter, whether through philosophy, scripture, or lived experience. The closer a person moves toward the divine, the more they realize they were never moving alone. Many people assume spirituality is about accumulation, more knowledge, more discipline, more righteousness, more certainty. But the deeper tradition suggests something far more refined. Transformation often begins not with gathering, but with right orientation. Consider the line from the Gospel of Matthew. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." At first hearing, it can sound like an endorsement of weakness or deprivation. Yet the original language points somewhere entirely different. To be poor in spirit is not to be empty of worth, intelligence, or strength. It is to be free from the illusion of self-sufficiency. To recognize that one is not the ultimate source of one's own breath, wisdom, or being. This posture is not psychological smallness. It is spiritual clarity. It does not shrink a person, it steadies them. Imagine the difference between a sealed room and a house with open windows. The sealed room may already be full, yet nothing fresh can enter. The open house may contain many beautiful things, yet it remains permeable, capable of receiving light, air, and movement. This is the condition the Beatitude honors: interior openness without self-erasure. Interestingly, this same posture appears in philosophy. Socrates famously concluded that his wisdom lay in recognizing the limits of his own knowledge. He did not mean he possessed no understanding. Rather, he refused the arrogance of believing his understanding was complete. Premature certainty closes the mind. Awakened humility keeps perception alive. Scripture echoes this insight when it says, "Those who think they know something do not yet know as they ought to know." Knowledge itself is not the danger. The danger is intellectual finality, the moment one believes there is nothing left to receive. This brings us to another sacred tension. If we are called to humility, are we meant to remain spiritually poor? Are we not told elsewhere to store up treasures in heaven? Here the paradox sharpens beautifully. Spiritual maturity is not about remaining empty. It is about becoming rich without becoming inflated. To be teachable. One can accumulate wisdom, compassion, discipline, and depth while still remaining poor in spirit. Because the poverty described is not about possession, it is about posture. It is the quiet awareness that whatever good flows through a life is not self-originating. Outwardly fruitful, inwardly unpretentious, strength without arrogance. This humility acts almost like structural integrity. Without it, knowledge hardens into pride, power becomes domination, and success drifts towards self-worship. But when humility runs deep, a person can carry great spiritual weight without collapsing under it. From this foundation emerges another question many thoughtful readers ask. Must one make room for the divine? In a metaphorical sense, yes, but not as though God were searching for spare square footage within the human soul. The language of room speaks instead to priority, attention, and governing influence. Scripture says, "Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst?" A temple is not hollow. It is ordered, inhabited, consecrated. The goal then is not vacancy but right ordering. Making room means removing what obstructs perception: arrogance, rigid self-certainty, ego defensiveness, the refusal to be taught. These are less like objects taking up space and more like noise that drowns out subtle music. When the interference quiets, awareness sharpens. Yet this relationship is never mechanical. The book of Revelation offers a striking image. "I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in." The picture is relational, not coercive. Consent matters. Response matters. And still, Scripture balances this by showing that the divine is often already calling, already inviting, already drawing. The difference lies not in divine absence, but in human alignment. The Epistle of James states it plainly. "Come near to God and He will come near to you." Notice the reciprocity. Movement met with movement. But this is not a transaction, as though one step obligates another. It is more like opening a window. You did not create the wind, you simply allowed what was already moving to enter your space. You openly invite through faith and availability. In fact, many theologians have observed something profound. The very desire to seek the divine may itself be evidence of already being drawn. Hunger often signals the presence of nourishment nearby. So drawing near is rarely about dramatic spiritual performance. More often, it appears in quiet, directional choices. Seeking truth when illusion is easier, correcting oneself when pride rises, orienting the heart toward what is enduring rather than merely urgent. Attention, after all, is formative. Whatever we consistently turn toward begins shaping us. Turn toward resentment, and resentment organizes the inner world. Turn toward fear, and perception narrows around threat. Turn toward the sacred, and life gradually reorganizes around deeper coherence. This leads us back to the insight which many recognized, which is, the one who truly knows becomes aware of how much lies beyond their knowing. There are two states that can look similar from the outside, but differ entirely within. One says, "I know nothing," and collapses into indifference. The other says, "I see enough to know there is more," and leans forward with awakened curiosity. The first drifts, the second grows. Humility, in this sense, is not the absence of conviction. It is the refusal to treat one's understanding as ultimate. And paradoxically, people who no longer need to appear ultimate become remarkably resilient. Correction does not threaten them. Learning does not destabilize them. Their identity is not built on the fragile scaffolding of always being right. They are open, yet grounded. Here, then, is the quiet synthesis beneath all these teachings. You are not asked to become less of a person. You are invited to become less obstructed. Not smaller, clearer. Not emptied, aligned. For the divine is not typically portrayed as something struggling to enter existence, but as a reality already sustaining it. The deeper question becomes not, how do I fit God into my life, but what in me prevents me from recognizing what already reaches toward me? When resistance softens, awareness deepens. When humility steadies the heart, spiritual richness becomes safe to carry. And when a person turns, even slightly, they often discover they are turning toward a presence that was never truly distant. Perhaps the paradox can be distilled into a single line. Be rich in virtue, but poor in ego. Seek deeply, but never presume arrival. Open, and you may find that what you were seeking has long been seeking you.